Good morning, good evening. Whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing, we wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. We're going to have a talk today on a potential of resources, and specifically a post-scarcity world, a post-scarcity economy. See, right now, you may not have noticed this or may not have noticed this, but groceries are going up in price. And they're running out of things very quickly. These bananas have only been here a couple of days, and you can see they're already quite ripe and ready to eat. These ones have only been here about a day or so. I'm not really good with avocados, but I can tell you that's not ready to go yet. At any rate, the Avengers Infinity War and Endgame addressed one possible solution. What if you have the population? Then there would be enough to go around. Of course, the heroes couldn't allow that to happen, and they restored balance the way it was. But what about the opposite? What about a place where scarcity doesn't exist? It is possible. As a matter of fact, it's possible within our lifetime, at least for some of the younger viewers listening to this show. See, for the past 10,000 years at least, we have had to have life create its own life. Onions make onions. Bananas come from banana bushes, not trees, bushes. Mangoes, of course, come from mango trees. And little oranges, that's a tasty looking one, come from orange trees. Life makes life. For us to get a steak or anything like that, we have to grow an animal and kill it. This means that there's a finite amount of resources. There's only so many onions that we can plant. There's only so many bananas that we can grow. There's only so much stuff that we can process and turn into this. And it still makes no sense to me that processed stuff is cheaper than raw stuff. It's been explained to me a million times. I understand it, but it doesn't make sense. The raw ingredients should be cheaper. But they're usually not. In a post-scarcity civilization, though, it wouldn't be a problem. You'd say, I feel like a banana today, and a banana would be there for you. There wouldn't be any more world hunger. There wouldn't be any problem because, as Thanos predicted, the cause of conflict is want of resources. There's not enough to go around. With new technology that's come out, we now know they can 3D print meat. I haven't had the chance to try it yet, although I admit I am fascinated. Probably not the healthiest thing in the world, and I want to see some studies before I put any of it in my mouth. But it'll be interesting that we can lay down protein, especially the way that they've been making our steaks thinner and thinner. And lamb is a joke at this point. Sure, Chef Ramsay gets these beautiful cuts for his restaurant, but for you and I, unless we're willing to spend money to go to a butcher, yeah, we get those little tiny things that you see the chefs struggle with on Hell's Kitchen. If they manage to get 3D printing of meat working, and then they manage to get 3D printing of objects working, then the real currency of the world won't be dollars and cents. It won't be resources anymore. It'll simply be raw material. And eventually, once we get past that, it'll be energy. On the Kardashev scale, we're not quite a type 1 civilization. We're a 0.7, because a type 1 means you can control the energy of a whole planet. We're getting fairly close. And if you add in the fact that we grow these crops, they provide us with oxygen, it can be argued we are in fact already a type 1 civilization. We're developing the next generation of everything. The fusion generators are starting to come online in the next 10 to 15 years. They're cleaner and more efficient than our current fission generators because they use the same process that's going on inside of the sun. While that's going on, the Canadian can-do system has been miniaturized. So instead of in the olden days where you'd have to build a reactor the size of a building, now you can build one that's the size of, say, about 2 fridges put together, I think was the estimate that I saw. And with that, you can power a whole block for 10 to 15 years, then get rid of it. If you have access to that sort of energy, then all of a sudden, your needs become less. Everybody can have higher power streaming internet in their home because there's more power available to it. Energy can be converted to matter, and matter can be converted to energy, as the famous equation E equals mc squared demonstrates. We don't quite have that much control over it yet, but it's a logical next step. We can arrange proteins to do whatever we like. We can create proteins from virtually anything. So making proteins that you can eat with means that a post-scarcity civilization might be closer than you think. This would have a lot of benefits. Of course, the first thing you think of is if everybody has so much food, then the population is going to go insane. That's not wrong. As a matter of fact, Charles Galton, who is Charles Darwin's cousin, believed that the world was going to become overpopulated 100 years ago. He was also behind the Darwinist movement, social Darwinism as he started to refer to it, and eugenics. Not exactly a nice guy, but he thought we would run out of resources. Here we are. The resources are not evenly distributed, but at the same token, most people get a decent amount. There are a significant number of people who don't, and we need to do a better job getting the resources to where they are. Why did this banana need to come here to nearly rot away when it could have gone to feed a hungry child? It's not going to go to waste. I'm going to eat it after this video. But that is something that is honestly despicable. If we become a true post-scarcity civilization, we need to develop means to make sure everybody gets equal access in terms of energy, in terms of food, and in terms of life. Now, this sounds very hippy-dippy left wing of me, but think about it. If the energy does get so cheap and available that literally all they have to do is turn a switch and the cyclotrons go and we get our energy, we'll always have to pay something. We'll always have to exchange some sort of labor or some sort of equity. But the same token, a post-scarcity civilization would be radically different. Wouldn't quite be like Star Trek, where you can go out and go to the pub every night. But I think it would be an interesting time. It's something that we're already working our way towards in the Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic nations, the weird nations. We are technically a post-scarcity civilization. We still have scarcity. We still have people going hungry in the streets. And there's a major problem with child hunger. But people are not getting jobs. People are not getting income. So we are still managing to get food, but we're not getting anything else. People are inventing their way out of this at the present time because it's the only way you can do it. Maybe you can't be a ditch digger. Maybe you can't be a garbage man like we saw the other day. Maybe you can't be a doctor, but you can still make a business. You can still make something happen. And that is the true lesson of how to get to a post-scarcity civilization. We can maximize our resources and make sure you get a healthy diet every day, cooked to perfection, because we'll be able to put the recipes in the printer and it'll spit them out just like on Star Trek, where the machines would spit the stuff out, both the original series and the Next Generation and onward. That would be a very good civilization. At the same token, just because you can have steak every day doesn't mean it's going to be the best thing for you. This is something we really need to think of, because if you're younger than 50 years old, chances are you're going to see at least part of this coming through. Capitalism is going to change by 2030, and quite dramatically. It's not going to be for the faint of heart. You won't be able to go out and just get a job with another company because you become a stakeholder. The company will not have an interest in hiring you. So instead, we all need to learn to deliver our own services. We need to be our own companies, our own best friends, our own bosses, and our own innovators. We don't need other people to develop products for us. We need to do the developing. Maybe you know how to do some coding. Learn how to make some video games. It's easy. Those old 8-bit ones we used to love are still popular. You don't need to be beautiful. You just need to have fun. Maybe you're not good at that. Maybe you're an artist. Starving artists have always existed, and they will always exist in the future. Maybe you're a writer like me. There's more avenues than ever to get your work out there. Maybe you're just good at deals. Well, you can try your hand at the stock market if you are, and with some luck, maybe you can do some debt equity swaps and make a name for yourself, like a certain billionaire that we've covered before on this show. That is the only way forward. Unless we can innovate ways to move forward, then our civilization is going to collapse. Whether it's capitalist, communist, anybody except maybe a dictator state like North Korea might be able to keep its population under control. But that's doubtful. So the long shot of this is a post-scarcity civilization is coming. It is within our very fingertips. The question is, as humans, are we going to be able to evolve to understand it and to really take advantage of it? Or are we just going to let the rich take everything and we get stuck with a dirty banana? I don't mean that nightclub in Miami. I mean a dirty banana. Don't worry, this one's going to find a home in just a second. Wish to thank you for joining us on the Silverlight Show. A like and a subscribe is always welcome. And if you have it in your heart, check out our page on Amazon. You'll find the books are there. We always put our ebooks for 99 cents so they can have maximum affordability because we understand it's a tough world out there. The real books cost a little bit more money, but that's because we have to pay printing prices on them. No matter. If you have time and you need the service, check out @Affinity WES. That's @Affinity Writing and Editing Services. You can find them on Twitter or on Facebook. If you do anything with words, they're there to help. Over on Etsy.com, you've got Hippie Witch Vibes. That's Hippie Witch Vibes. They have a very eclectic collection, and the owner is always searching far and wide. I'm a friend of hers, and just the things that she comes across will blow your mind. So it's worth a couple seconds to peruse. But once again, let me officially thank you for joining us on the Silverlight Show, where hopefully post-scarcity will enrich all of us. And by the way, this is also an example of reusing your stuff. These onions started blooming very early, so we just let them bloom. We're going to get nice spring onions, and the rest will go in the compost, so nothing goes to waste. But once again, thank you for your time, and we hope you have a great day.